Hello and welcome to Halftime Live. It's currently Leicester City 1, West Ham United nil at the King Power as they take a step closer to wrapping up the title. And you, I'm joined with Charlie and Tom. Charlie, 90 seconds. 90 seconds, we're almost 1-0 up. Kiati off the post, off the other post. Oh, how unlucky was that?
Massively so. The commentator said you can tell that Leicester are being lucky, and I think it's partly you can tell we're being unlucky as well. It was incredibly close. I don't blame Kiate for missing it. He saw it very late, and so to get it that close at all was good. But someone follow up, please. Just anyone, just get a foot on it. It's in the net.
See, actually, that's a very good point. I think that's a key point, actually. Today, why was no one chasing that in? It shows you on the replay. Emenike standing at the back post, watching it bounce across the line, hit the other post, rather than just steal the goal. Stop worrying about Kiati getting the goal. Fucking knock it in yourself. Take the goal. Get us one up. Tom, before that, obviously the lineup came up. What do you make of the lineup? There was quite an uproar on social media.
Yeah, there were some changes. Welcome changes, I think. Obviously, because it was quite a lot of people looked knackered on Wednesday. I still would have gone with Tompkins at right back for this game and had Antonio up at right wing. I think the three in the midfield, fair enough if you're going to set up to probably be scoring at a set piece or defending almost to counteract Leicester's three in the middle, but you can't really unlock them because at times so many Emenike and Moses, they're so isolated when they get up top that there's no Lanzini in the team to just create that pass, split the defense open, or have even Carroll to bully the defenders. I just think Emenike is very isolated when we've seen him before, so isolated up top.
Charlie, you weren't too happy with the lineup, I don't think, were you?
No, I don't think we're very good with three in the middle. I think that it reduces our mobility. It means that we can barely do anything up front. And I think the first goal came as a direct result of that because in the early stages, the only way we were looking really dangerous was from Payet or Moses winning a free kick. And then everyone comes forward for the free kick, leaves us completely open at the back. And Leicester City are the best counter-attacking team in the league, and they just go up the other end and score. Three in the middle doesn't work for me. We need someone slightly further forward, like a Lanzini, just to bridge that gap, because otherwise it's just a case of seeing if Payet and Moses can brute force their way into the box, which I don't think Leicester are going to let us do that often today.
Bar Antonio, I actually thought the lineup was okay. I mean, we've not won in the last 5 games. Bilch has got to try something. You're an idiot if you keep doing the same thing and expecting different results. And we've been trying 4-2-3-1 and it's not been working. So I don't really blame him for going 3 in the middle, although I'm not the biggest fan of it. However, I don't think Lanzini is the person we should be leaving out. Unfortunately, I do think we're missing his hard work. We've got a warning, though. Robert Huth went close, and then the goal came. Tom, does that goal just sum up Leicester City for you? Counter-attack, Schmeichel to one nominated player for the PFA of the award, Mahrez, who gives it to another PFA nominated player of the year, Conte, who gives it to the other player of the year nominated award, which is Vardy. And what a finish, though. What a finish.
You could say it's typical Leicester, and you could also say it's typical West Ham, because nobody got back. I saw the ball came across. I think it was a free kick. It came from a free kick, wasn't it? And everybody's jogging back. And I'm thinking, just work back. This is the difference between, and I'll quickly mention the goal in a second, but the difference between Leicester and other teams is they work as a unit. They're up and down that pitch, back and forth and back and forth. And it showed for our goal because Reid was on the floor and then he was having to run back into position as it came to Mario. But no, props to Leicester because it was just a fantastic looked up through to Kante, one simple pass. You're talking about 3 passes pretty much, and they scored. And it's an absolute fantastic finish on a weaker foot, Vardy to find a corner as well. No, it's brilliant goal.
Charlie, what was your thoughts on the goal?
Basically the same. I mean, it really was typical Leicester, but absolutely brilliant finish. I mean, like you said, to bring it onto his weaker foot and yet still finish with such class is incredible. I think we made it as easy for them as possible, and the point he picked up on, we just did not track back fast enough. Winston Reid particularly was annoyed he didn't get a foul in the build-up, was complaining, but then jogged back like he should be sprinting full pace because you've got, like you said, 3 PFA Player of the Year nominations, passing the ball between each other, all attacking at once, and Winston Reid was jogging back. I'm not blaming him specifically. I'm just saying, as a team, we needed to get back quicker, and we did not do that.
Right, I know you're not blaming Winston Reid, but Tom, do you think he should be taking a yellow card for the team there? Because Conte goes in front of him. Winston Reid had that split second to take him down 40 yards out from goal. He could have pulled him down. It would have been a booking, but you take one for the team. Do you think, or do you think it's too early in the game for him to take that risk? Because it was within the first 20 minutes of the game just.
Yeah, it was. It's difficult because for me there was another person. I don't know if it was Noble was with Kante as well. I thought maybe he should be making the challenge or just at least bringing him down because at that point Reid should have just gone hell for leather and gone straight back into defence. He should have gone from getting straight up off the floor and run back, and maybe it's left to Noble to do that. But I think if Reid gets up straight away and sprints all the way back, and maybe he can't pick that pass. But even Antonio at times, I think he's half caught in. And do I stay up top or do I track back for this? Because Ogbonna closed in to try and cut cut Kante off, but he left, Vardy wide open, and Antonio was again further down the pitch. So it's just there's a whole host of people you could blame, and I honestly, if it was me, yes, I would have probably brought Kante down.
Let's talk about 2 or 3 of our players. Well, let's start with Winston Reid since we're talking about him. 10 minutes later, he did get booked. He flew in on Okazaki and took the yellow card for him. I think he's been rusty for a few games now, and I think he looks rusty again. I think Vardy and Okazaki have got his number out there today. I don't know what it is, Charlie, but do you think I'm being harsh, or do you think Reid just looks a bit different since he's come back from injury?
Judging a player against Shinji Okazaki and Jamie Vardy this season is very difficult to do, but what I will say is for the last couple of games, I completely agree with you. I think Winston Reid has looked different, and I can't quite figure out why he just doesn't look quite at the races yet. We saw before his injury, he was fantastic, absolutely brilliant. But since then, he just something seems to be off, and I'm not sure what.
Yeah, you're right. I think he's the best, in the top 3 centre-backs in the league on his day. I mean, I still remember that performance at the Etihad, one of the best centre-back performances I've ever seen live, but he's just not at the races recently. Let's talk about our striker, Tom. One surprise, I suppose, Emenike started instead of Carroll. You could say it was a curveball by Bilic to try and catch Leicester out. He's having a harder time up there against Huth and Morgan, isn't he? They're bringing the game to him physically.
Very physical. Saw a couple of challenges where he was levelled a few times. But every game I've seen him playing, he's just so isolated up top. And unless he works his socks off, you don't notice much from him. And again, I mentioned it a few minutes ago, when Leicester are working together, they are back 4, they're up and down. Everyone knows where each other's going to be, and they're just a unit at the back. And you're not going to break them down with a striker, I don't think, like Emenike, unless he has help with like a Lanzini or a Payet, putting deliveries in. But no, I would have gone with Carroll because he has that physical presence that Emenike doesn't have, maybe. But it's all a matter of opinion, and he went with Emenike instead today.
Well, let's flick back to our star man, Dimitri Payet. Charlie, he's had a quiet half again, hasn't it? It's becoming quite frequent that he's having such a quiet game. Even the free kick that we hit the post from, it wasn't the best free kick. Kiai had to duck. He was at the front post and he had to duck to get his head on it. So, is he having a poor game?
He's yeah. I guess in comparison to playing so well as he has done in other games, yeah, he is. Something I said about him a couple of weeks ago, I can't remember when it was that he can go inside a game being quiet and then pull out a moment of brilliance out of nowhere. And I think today he's struggling because he has a lack of options around him, and he really needs. In this formation, it's so easy to double up on him, and he needs backup around him, which is why you see Moses drifting so far across, almost into the centre of the pitch, to back him up. And he needs that to be able to create something special. But something has to change because he's not playing well enough in that half, certainly.
Well, right now, Liverpool are currently beating Bournemouth. They're catching up on us. They've got a game in hand. Southampton picked up a point yesterday. Manchester United won. Man City won. Pressure's on us a wee bit to get something from this game, Tom. But our bench, we've got 3 defenders and 3 attackers, really. We've got Collins, Tompkins and Byram, and then we've got Lanzini, Valencia and Carroll. What changes do you want to see Mr. Bilic ring out?
Carroll for Emenike, and I would probably take off one of the centre mids, but I don't know which one, because I think they're all good. But I'd be tempted probably to take off Obiang, maybe because he's more of a defensive-minded one, and get Lanzini on, and then probably get Valencia on as the game wore on. You're going to have to. You're 1-0 down at this point, but it's the ball's in our court really, and we've just got to have a different attitude going out second half. And I hope we do.
Well, let's pick on your wee sec there, Tom. You would keep Antonio right back. You wouldn't change that.
It's good, but will he bring another? Will he bring Tompkins on for him? I don't know. Maybe not. I don't know what he's thinking at this point, but I would love to see him up at right wing. He's just a couple of games, fair enough, have him at right back, but he just does not looking at the right place at right back anymore. He just doesn't. He just looks out of place, and he's up and down all the time, and he's just knackered, and he wants to stay forward because he doesn't track back. I don't know. Again, for me, I would just probably start with Carroll and Lanzini and see what happens.
Charlie, what changes would you make?
The one I would change at half-time would be bringing on Tompkins for Kiate, and then move Antonio forward and put Tompkins back. I think we need to retain possession. We need to find a way of breaking Leicester down. I think that Antonio going forward is better than a lot of our players. He just goes, and he's really difficult to stop. We saw that early on in the half where he managed to dribble past 3 or 4 players. I think that I would take off. Kiate would be the guy I would sacrifice because he had a bit of running so far with the ball and then just not being able to do anything with it. He is a good football player, but I think we need Obiang in there just to retain possession, play good, solid passes, and just be more solid as a team. And I think Kiate would be the one I would sacrifice for that.
Well, we've got 3 different people here and 3 different opinions, because I think Kiate is our best player out there. I think he's our main threat going forward. I think it'd be a bit mad to take him off. I'd actually take off our skipper. He's on a booking. He's flew into another couple of challenges as well. I think I'd take him off, and I'd probably put on Carroll and go him and MNEK up front. I'd be looking to get Lanzini on the pitch at some point, probably for Moses. I would give Byram at right back. Just let him fly forward and get the crosses in. Him and Creswell, and keep Obiang in front. But at some point, Leicester City will bring on Ijoa, and he will cause even more trouble for us at the back. He's fantastic. I really like him. There's one player we would sign for a third choice type striker. He's the type of striker I'd like to see at West Ham. He will cause problems in the air, and he's the type of striker who will go stand beside Winston Reid and say, "You're on the booking, touch me, and you're rocking." So beware of that one, please, Mr. Winston Reid. Tom, you've got one last thing to say before we bail and watch the second half.
It's really quick. I saw a lot in the build-up to this game of West Ham fans on social media saying, I'm quite happy to lose today to allow Leicester to win the title instead of Spurs. And it wound me up a little bit looking at it, because we're fighting for ourselves here today. And if we take off our claret and blue tinted glasses here for a second, I don't care if Tottenham win the league. We're fighting for Europe. As you mentioned a second ago, Liverpool are picking up points at the minute. Man United have picked up points. Southampton picked up a point. We need to fight for ourselves today. And I think today we just needed to come out. And I would have changed some players, yes, but I just don't see us getting back into this game at the minute. I really don't. It's just, and it annoys me because I would like Leicester to win the title, but at the same time we need to be pushing for Europe as well. I think it was always going to be difficult today, but we desperately need to pick this up in the second half.
Well, bang on. I mean, everyone would have took your hand for Europa League at the start of the season. Even if we beat Leicester and Spurs win, there's still a 4-point gap at the top of the league. It's still in their hands, so it's up to them to win the title themselves. But anyway, to keep up with all your latest West Ham United news, go to cladandhugh.info, and straight after the game as well for the match report. We will be back straight after the game with a match review. It should be up half an hour after the full-time whistle. But that's been Charlie, that's been Tom, I've been Gio. It's time for the second half.
Andy Carroll's coming on.
Well, there you go. Andy Carroll's coming on. Come on, West Ham.